my name is Amanda and I'm going to show you how to make chicken stock today without having to skim it all of the time. This is a tip that I learned from a French cookbook. First of all, I start with a full chicken. I don't just use chicken bones because I'm looking to get as much flavor out of the stock as I can. And it's not a waste anyways, because after you use this chicken for the stock, you can use it again for shredded chicken for tacos, or you can make a big chicken salad or cut it up into pasta or whatever. So you're still going to get 2 uses out of this chicken, so it's not a waste at all. Also what I use is an onion, carrots. Traditional stock has celery in it, but we don't have celery because it's March and we eat by season. So what we're going to use today is called a celery root. So it has all the smell and flavor of a celery, but you can get this in the winter if you're eating locally. I'm also going to use thyme, sage, tarragon, salt and pepper. I don't want a bland stock. A lot of people say that you shouldn't put a lot of flavor in it because you want it to be useful in a bunch of different recipes, but I find that all the recipes that I use chicken stock for call for these types of flavors anyway, so in order to save time, I put them all in right into the chicken stock so it's tasty right from the beginning. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the skin off of the chicken. It doesn't have to be perfect. You want to just get as much off as you can. So you just sort of cut into the chicken and then you just pull the skin right off. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can leave a little bit of the skin on the wings and stuff like that. And you just pull it off. The reason that you want to pull it off is because it's really fatty and you try and get as much fat off of the chicken as you can. Okay, so I've got most of this skin off. Doesn't have to be perfect. I don't bother with the wings because it's too small. The next thing I want to do is I want to put the chicken in a small pot, just big enough to cover the chicken with water. So all you need is as much water to cover the chicken, and turn your heat on because you want to boil it. Covering it helps it come to a boil faster. Okay, now we're going to prepare our vegetables while the chicken is coming to a boil. Some people don't bother peeling the carrots, but I think it's kind of gross not to, so I peel them. When you're cutting the vegetables, they don't have to be perfect because nobody's going to eat them. There's no presentation involved. You're only using this for flavor. And there's no exact measurements or anything like that. The more you put into the pot, the more flavor it's going to have. But if you're making a smaller stock, just cut it down to what you need. Okay, so I've got my chicken boiling, and I'm going to turn the heat down just a little bit so it's not too much of a rapid boil. And I want it to boil like this for anywhere between 8 and 10 minutes. And what I'm doing is I'm getting all of that fat and gunk, all of the stuff that you would normally be skimming the top of your stock. I'm getting all that off the chicken now. Okay, so I've boiled this chicken for about 12 minutes. And you should be able to see on the top a lot of fat and sludgy stuff. This is the stuff that you don't want in your chicken stock. So now that it's finished, I'm just going to get my chicken out of this. Some tongue, fork. And then I'm going to put my chicken into my stock pot. And you can see that water is all the stuff that you don't want in your chicken stock. And this is why in a lot of other recipes that you're going to come across, it tells you to like skim it every half an hour. You can see the side of the pot here has got all kinds of brown, sludgy stuff in here. That's what you want. You don't want that. So this is finished. You're just going to dump this and get rid of it. This is not going to be part of your stock anymore. This is the garbage. Now in your stock pot, this is a really big pot. The bigger the pot, the more stock you're gonna get. I'm not gonna fill this all the way up. If I was gonna fill it all the way up, I'd probably put 2 chickens in there. But I'm gonna add my vegetables. And I forgot to mention earlier, I use garlic in there as well. You can use whole garlic cloves, or you can just use diced garlic or crushed garlic. I put some pepper in. I put some salt in. Salt is going to depend on how you like it, so I start off with a little bit and then taste it as later on and see if I want some more. I'm going to put in some thyme. You're going to season this according to the way you like it. This is the way I like it, and I put lots of sage in. If you like poultry seasoning, the main thing in poultry season is sage. So it's great with chicken. I also really like tarragon, so I put a lot of tarragon in as well. Now, fresh herbs is way better, but this is March and I don't have fresh herbs any more than I have celery. So I'm using dried herbs. But in the summertime, I'll be putting fresh herbs in here. So that's what you need in your pot. The next thing you're gonna do is put water in it. So I filled it up with water about halfway. And I'm going to turn the heat on. I'm going to put the heat on high because I want to bring the temperature up on it. But once it starts to boil, I'm going to turn it down to medium low, so it just goes on a even simmer. You want to cook it, the longer it cooks, the better. Minimum of 3 hours, but it can cook 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, doesn't matter. The longer it cooks, the better it tastes. So don't be afraid that you're going to overcook it or anything like that. I'm going to cook this one for about, probably about 4 hours. So this is what we wanted to get rid of and why we boiled the chicken first. And this is exactly what they want you to skim off while the stock is cooking. But by pre-boiling the chicken and just getting rid of this, you don't have to skim it anymore because we've gotten rid of all that junk that we don't want, and we're just going to throw this right out. We're not even going to use this. It's not going to be a part of our stock at all. My stock's been cooking for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm just going to show you what it looks like right now. It's looking good, and you can see that there is a little bit of fat here on the sides, but not much because of the pre-boiling. You can see here it's a nice clear stock. There's no fat and no junk in it. It's looking really nice. It smells awesome. That's the best part about making stock, is how great your house is going to smell. But it's not done yet. Okay, so my stock has been cooking for 4 hours. And there it is. And you remember from when I boiled the chicken, there was all that black sludge that accumulated around the corners. And as you can see now, there's none of that around the corners. There's some spices and things like that, some of the herbs that I used. Zoomed in too much there. But none of the scummy stuff, no fat really to speak of. None of that's in there at all. And it's just a lovely stock. So as you can see, that pre-boiling step is just brilliant at cutting a lot of work, because you can just cook this and you can just walk away from it. You don't have to come back and skim it a whole bunch of times. Okay, so I'm going to take the chicken out of the stock. And as you can see, it's falling apart because it's just like shredded chicken now. I'm going to put it in a container. Get all my pieces of chicken out. And as I said earlier, all this is going to be reused. I might use it tomorrow night in a pasta. out the rest of the vegetables and just put them in a strainer. This takes a few minutes. I have all different sizes of containers here because I use this stock to do all kinds of things, from cooking with rice to sauces and soups. So I take my ladle, and I use the ladle for a reason, because after I scooped everything out, any pieces that are left will settle to the bottom, so I don't want to pour it. I want to use a ladle to transfer it to my containers. I use a lot of 1-cuppers for rice and stuff like that. As I get towards the bottom, I tilt the pot, and I still use my ladle to get the rest out. And you're going to see in a couple minutes why I do this instead of just pouring it in from the pot. Because as I sort of get towards the bottom, you're going to see all of the stuff that's left over. Now this batch of stock, as you can see, makes quite a lot. I have a big freezer that I put it all into. If you don't have a large freezer, if you've just got your freezer, your fridge freezer, then you just make a smaller batch. I used a full chicken. If you have a smaller freezer, just use half a chicken or a quarter chicken and make smaller stocks. This much stock will last me about 4 to 5 weeks, depending on how much I use. So by tilting the pot, you'll see at the bottom is all, the garlic that's left over and the herbs and all that kind of stuff. I could probably try and get a little bit more without getting all this stuff, but I'm not going to bother. This is just too much. I don't mind there being some of the herbs left in the stock, but I don't want big chunks of it, as you can see is now in the bottom of this pot. And that happens when you're using dried herbs. If you're using whole fresh herbs, you can just sort of pull them out with the vegetables and you're not left with any of this stuff. From what you can see on the stock, there is a darker color to it. It's not a clear stock. And that's because I use the herbs and all the flavoring in it. The less you put in it, the clearer, more of a clear stock you're going to get. But it won't taste like much, so I don't bother with that. I like my stock to have flavor. So I'm going to put caps on all this in just a little while longer. It's almost cooled. And stick it in my freezer, and I'll have it for the next month or so. Thanks for watching. I hope it helped. Have a good day.